topsy-turvy game.
And now a must-win game for Dmitry Andreikin with the black pieces against Jan's Catalan, which has been not only unbreakable, but Jan has just been playing it for a win. How is Dmitry going to handle this task?
I'm silent because I just don't know how you beat Jan.
I don't know either.
Black.
You don't. You play something very sharp. Maybe early D takes C4 and like knight C6. There's a lot of lines that black can play in the Catalan to give yourself chances. But I think Dmitry is going kind of for the long game here. He just wants to position with a lot of pieces on the board.
And look at Jan. He's saying, no D takes C4 stuff for you. I'm just going to play a very nice, safe game because you need to beat me.
Where I know the ideas, which is maybe the worst thing. I mean, Jan knows all of these, where to put the knight on D2, when to put it on C3.
Mm-hmm.
And if a person knows an opening that well, you're not beating them most of the time.
Yeah, we might get like one of these knight E5, knight FD7 type of positions. So look at Dmitry. He's pressing forward on the queen side. He knows he needs to do something out of the ordinary.
Now, E4 is the stock move in such positions, and Jan plays it.
And Dmitry needs to do something random. Yeah, knight A6. Sure.
Yeah, he's unbalancing the position, which is what you have to do.
And Jan says, okay, your knight wanted to go to B4. No, not for you today.
No knight B4 for you.
But Jan, he needs to be a bit careful here because black is getting ready to play C5. And especially with the queen on C2 and a rook coming to C8, that could be a bit of a nuisance.
Right. With a big space advantage like that and a big chunk of the center comes great responsibility. So you absolutely have to tread carefully if you're Jan. But I like the move B3. This completes the development, or prepares to complete the development with bishop B2.
That's right.
And it's just so solid. How is he going to lose this?
Wait, C5 I think has a... Oh, it does it.
Takes a knight G5?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And I think that white should be absolutely no worse there.
That might lead to total liquidation too, which is even worse.
So he takes on E4, but this is clearly better for white.
Oh, this is just bad for black. 90. Maybe not 95 just yet. Maybe like a bishop move.
Bishop F4.
Bishop F4, yeah.
Good knight on A6, right?
They're not phenomenal. It's actually semi-threatening to go to C5, which is kind of funny. But no, Dmitry, I mean, he's trying to unbalance the game, but as a consequence, he's just much worse, and that's that.
But sometimes you have to do that, right? Like we saw in previous matches, Fabi against Alexis Serrano just playing kind of random stuff just for the long game, and Jan correctly puts his bishop on F4. So what can black's plan be? You want to play C5, but now after knight E5, you just can never make that move.
Yeah, knight E5 just sitting on black completely. You can also play... No, this is... I was thinking of playing like rook A, E1, no, but that drops the A3 pawn. You don't want to do that. Yeah, knight E5 is definitely the move here. 100%.
Goes for it, and this is just kind of miserable for black. I'm struggling to come up with an idea.
I mean, Jan just might win this outright. It's +2.
It looks like a +2 position.
Yeah, ugh.
Like white can play H4, rook E1, rook D1, all these sort of things. But as you made mention of earlier, don't drop A3. That would be like one of these blunders that you can make.
Right.
That would be tragic.
Knight G4 by Jan. I was indicating that move. I actually didn't notice the black has bishop G5. That somewhat changes my mind on the move, but you can also take and just go back to E5. I mean, again, how is black going to win this position?
Just don't blunder F5, right? Like some kind of F5 fork, right? You just don't want to run into that. It doesn't work in the current position, but that's the only way I could see black somehow just doing anything.
I love that Jan is taking his time.
But I think Dmitry also loves that Jan's taking his time.
That's true.
Because
he's deciding what to do here.
Like, think about how Dmitry lost that last game. It was even, but Dmitry started getting in time trouble, and he gave away his B pawn. And here, if Jan gets in time trouble, which never happens, then Dmitry could probably find some tactical sequence that confuses him.
Yeah, Jan is not a fan of time scrambles at all. He tries to avoid them at all costs. So Dimitri's got to keep all the pieces on the board. Go rook f d8. Just hang around, and keep your fingers crossed that you'll get an opportunity. But the way Jan is playing, I'm really pessimistic.
Right, white can just play like rook e1, but don't drop your a3 pawn. I actually think that it's not out of the realm of possibility that white just blunders that pawn, because I would blunder that pawn.
Yeah, it's not a common source of contact. Queen on e7, pressuring the pawn on a3.
I'm not even sure if it's bad to blunder that pawn, like because it distracts the black queen.
Queen g5 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, you definitely should not be giving away that pawn. If you
rook fe1 is the move.
h5.
Okay, Dimitri will play h6, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think Jan will go rook e1. Nope, knight e5.
So is it c5 time yet?
I think it might as well. Yeah, I think it is c5 time. And I think Jan is inviting it. And he's going to try to trade all the pieces. But with the open center like that, it's a game, It's a game.
It's one of these situations, Danya, where it's like practical versus objective. Like, yes, the eval has sort of equalized. The engine says that white lost most of his advantage, but if he can just trade queens and make sure he can never possibly lose, then it was a good choice. But I'm starting to feel this a little more for Dimitri, even though it's far from a position where he can play for a win. It just seems like he has more chances.
Well, if the D file opens and Jan is the one who controls it completely, then I just don't see black getting any chances. So let's see what Dimitri came up with here. He trades. Yeah, B4. But B4, no, I don't see this happening.
He wants some kind of knight e4, knight g5. Please let me checkmate you in the light squares, but that's not happening.
And there's this very typical idea of driving the pawn up to b5 and establishing an outpost for the knight on c6 to make matters even worse for black.
No, this is pretty miserable. And I mean, Dimitri has had a fabulous day, but game one of this match, Danya, just giving away that position by first losing the pawn, getting in time trouble, that just did him in.
Yeah, but earlier on in that game, we'll revisit it, but not playing bishop h7 check, going up in exchange, going to that very tense position and giving Jan a chance to squeeze the life out of that position. An unfortunate ending, but doesn't take away from, as you said, just a historic day, honestly, for Dimitri.
Beating Wesley and Hikaru back-to-back in matches, that is something very few people have done, if anyone has really done that. But right now, let's see. Is there any chance for Dimitri? With rook d1 being such a logical move right now, and then queen d7 to follow, just how in the world do you win this?
No, you don't. Knight g5 doesn't even threaten anything because the knight on e5 is covering the f3 square.
Yeah, queen d7.
I think queen d7 ends it. And a draw for might be forthcoming after queen d7. And here we go. Queen e7, knight h3 check might be the idea.
Yeah, the king h2, and I know you're going to win the f2 pawn, but my rook's landing on d7. I'm going to win your b6 pawn, your f7 pawn.
Although you can't take on f7 at the end of that line because of knight g4 check, but
that's actually, we should show that. I mean, we're getting
the players will show that.
On knight h2, you can't go king f1, so yeah, we're going to see exactly this kind of line.
Because black has zero other choice in the matter.
Yeah, but there's also this big issue for Dimitri. He can never play f6, and not just because Ben Feigl told him he couldn't, but because the knight will just sink in on g6. We'll have a nice first-class seat to the action, and there's nothing that black can do.
And even in an endgame there's all these mating nets. There's so many games that have been lost because of those mechanisms with knight g6 and rook d8.
Look at Dimitri. He's like not even looking at the screen. He understands that this is getting out of hand, but he has to move quickly. I think that's the only way he has even a remote shot at getting this game.
But the thing is, he cannot avoid a queen. Queen 8. Does he play queen a8? I guess that is the only way to avoid a queen trade.
Oh, with an f4.
Oh, that just ends it, doesn't it? Knight h3, king h2. Yeah. So then he has to play knight h3. I don't think there's much to think about here.
No, it's the only opportunity for him. Maybe he just kind of letting it all sink in that he's not going to get this match. But this is definitely not the way to make the attempt right now.
No, 100%.
But you lose with the white pieces in a match like this. You usually don't have that great of a chance anyway.
It's similar in the World Cup, which is the other big 2-game match tournament where if a player loses with white in the first game, there have been pretty famous cases of players winning on demand of the black pieces. Always so impressive. But it's very few and far between.
Right. So still thinking is Dmitry Andreikin.
And now his clock is down to 5:37, the same as Jan's clock. He doesn't even have that anymore.
And then I'm just getting curious as to what's going on in his mind, but it's probably just letting his feelings finally, after 3 straight tough matches, it's hard to be disappointed in theory when you beat Wesley So and Hikaru Nakamura, but now that he's in the final, I'm guessing he's like, I wish I could have given this a better fight.
Well, I think he's thinking, if I had drawn the first game and, this game would have been up for grabs. It's he regrets. I mean, it's $10,000. It's a lot of money that's on the line, and you know how chess players work. We're all unbelievably tough on ourselves, and he's not sitting there saying, "I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I beat Hikaru and Wesley." He's going after himself for losing that first game. That's why we watch.
It's true, and that's how these players get as good as they are. Is that
right?
They can win 8 games out of 9 in a 9-round tournament. They're like, yeah, but that game I lost, I really just didn't play my best. And it's like, you just beat all these people.
Hashtag Gukesh.
right. Gukesh beating everybody at the Olympiad, but the one game he lost against Abu Satarov, that's the one that ends up sticking out the most. So Knight H3 check played after 3.5 minutes. Obviously, that was a move he could have played in.
Okay, so
12
now
seconds.
we have waited so patiently where I can show Rook F7, Knight G4 checked really quickly.
Yeah, but this position.
No, come on. I think Jan specifically chose this because it's so drawn. Rook E7, Rook takes C6.
Yeah, it's just. Well, Rook E7, Knight C. Yeah, I guess you protect everything.
You could also play Rook D7 and Knight.
Yeah, and Rook F4 might just even be better for white.
Yeah, it is.
But Rook E7 is clinical if you're making a draw.
If you want to make a draw, exactly. And that's the luxury of winning the first game. And Nepo, wow.
Funny mindset to have, right? It's like, I know I'm better with Rook F4, but let me play Rook E7. He offered a draw, actually.
And I think Dmitry declines it. Oh, wow.
Let's go, Dmitry.
I like that spirit, right? Nothing to lose. You might as well make a couple more moves.
I always have felt that way. If you're in a 2-game match, a draw and you lose the first game, a draw is the same as a loss. So why not just lose the game? Fight.
It's literally the same as a loss, right?
Yeah. I don't think Dmitry Andreikin cares about his online rapid rating right now.
No. What do you mean? I heard him getting nervous about it the other day. He was okay. It's +4. Okay, I think I can understand why Jan offered the draw. That isn't like an obnoxious move or anything because he's completely winning. Knight G6, I think, is good enough. 5, Knight D7's coming. Brr.
Oh gosh, Knight C6. If that weren't good enough, Knight D7.
Yep, and I think Dmitry might reciprocate the draw for right about now.
And then you're going to see Jan decline it.
Right, just out of principle. There was a famous incident in the World Cup where Ivanchuk was playing Giri. And I think Vasily won the first game. The second game, Vasily plays a nice game. He outplays Anish. Anish offers him a draw. Now, in that situation, a draw is almost tantamount to a win. But Vasily declines it. And he ends up making the draw anyway, and he gets upset. I mean, he advances against Anish Giri, but he's upset he didn't win that second game. He doesn't care about the result of the match.
That's really funny. I mean, Fabiano in the last round of the candidates, when he beat Grishuk, all he needed was a draw. And he said, my position is pretty good at this point. Let's play on. But right now, Jan's position is amazing.
Oh, he did that? Fabi declined a draw?
I don't know I think a draw was offered at some point.
Wow.
Yeah, he just played on and won. But there's difference there, right? Like the FIDE rating is very important to those players. Right now, I think that Dimitri is more focused on the result than on
G6 mate.
Oh gosh, can't even play Rook C8. 97 check.
No hesitation. Yep, that fork ends the game. We have the winner of our inaugural RCC season. Unbelievable. And I think that was some applause there for Dima.
Yeah, I mean, if
I'm seeing ghosts.
No, but if we're being honest, right, coming into this match, just making it through the losers bracket was an accomplishment enough. But no matter who made it through, Jan is the heavy favorite because he can afford to lose one match and then get an immediate second one. And so for Dimitri, he knew that he was the underdog, even if they were playing just 2 games. But the fact that he would have to win 2 matches around, congratulations are in order to Jan Nepomniachtchi, the winner of the Candidates Tournament twice in a row, now the winner here at the Rapid Chess Championship. You can see on the screen the loser takes home second place and $20,000. That's for Dmitry Andreikin. $30,000 ready to go to Jan Nepomniachtchi's bank account.
We could not have asked for a better finale. That first game was exhilarating. Jan and Dmitry are both just monsters. They're in incredible form. But right now, Jan is just, I mean, I have no words for him. He is a force to be reckoned with. He's winning every tournament that he's playing in. And like we were discussing, you can just sense the confidence and the precision emanating from his fingertips. And we saw that again today.
I mean, just a great display throughout this entire event by Jan Nepomniachtchi. And, to get invited here to then win the matches he had to, including against Hikaru Nakamura and then against Dmitry Andreikin. But I think in some ways the star of the show, just because it was less expected, has been Dmitry Andreikin. So even though he finishes in second place, he deserves a world of credit for his performance.
He absolutely does. To go through the losers bracket like he did, that game against Hikaru Nakamura will remain, in my opinion, as one of the best positional efforts in Rapid. I mean, even by the standards of a classical game, that was an absolute masterpiece. So Dmitry Andreikin, he will hold his head up high. He can hang his hat on those $20,000 that he has received as his prize, and obviously his regular season as well, with that second place finish behind Hikaru Nakamura, was nothing short of amazing as well.
For sure. And the games may have concluded, but the action has not, because we are going to bring in the players for an interview. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back here with an interview with Jan Nepomniachtchi, the winner of the Rapid Chess Championship.